Yeah, unfortunately I'm going to talk in English because my Spanish is quite limited. So I hope you get that point. But I have a lot of pictures also to see. Yeah, it's a great honor to be here. I'm really happy that you invited me here. I really like to go to places that I have never heard of, like Keretaro. Yeah, I mean, if someone would have said me that I would be like standing on this theater stage of Keretaro, I don't think I would have believed that. But it's really nice to be here. Yeah, so I'm from Helsinki, Finland. It is quite a different place. As you can see, this is also from Helsinki. I thought it's good to start with the photo that you clearly see that it's not in Mexico. So it's actually one of the events that I've been organizing, Helsinki Sauna Day. Yeah, but let's get started because I have a lot of things to tell. Shortly about myself, I'm like doing a lot of projects that are always like somehow connected to people, cities, art and activism. And I started to do this like around 2012. I was kind of lost, I didn't know what to do, and then I just like thought there's no interesting jobs where I could like do what I really want to do, and I decided to start my own projects. And first it was kind of volunteer-based, then it became like a side job and like then a full-time job. So kind of things led to another, and now it led me here. So it's pretty cool. So I encourage you just to start doing things, and good things will happen. The first event that I've been making is called Cleaning Day in English. So it's a kind of flea market day. The idea is that people go to the streets and to sell their stuff or give it away and recycle their stuff. And it started so that my friend was complaining in Facebook that she has so much stuff that why there isn't a day when you can just like go to the streets and like sell your stuff and at the end of the day like the city will clean the whole streets. And then we started to think about it, that this might be a good idea, but we thought, okay, why we actually need the city? Let's leave the city out and let's just do it. So we didn't have any permission to do it, we didn't have any funding to do it, but we just decided like on this day there will be a cleaning day when everyone can go to the streets and set up their own flea market. We made a map for that, so here, this is a bit newer version, but it was pretty much the same. So you can like put your stand there, so people will find you where you are selling your stuff, and that way, like also the buyers find their way. Yeah, so as I said, we didn't have a permission to do this, but like we wrote on our webpage that the city hopes that you ask for a permission, and we put a link to their page. And soon they started to call us, like, what is this? Like, there are so many people asking for permission to have a flea market on one day, and we can't do it. That we have to cancel the day. Like you can't like organize such an event. And I said, like, no worries, it will be fine, and let's just do it. And so we just did it, and it became a really big success. So the parks were full of people, but like I have to say, when I went first there, I was also a bit scared, like this is going to be a chaos, because there were so many people. But in the end, all the streets and parks were actually totally clean. And it was all meant for everyone, so there were children, younger people. These people were actually having a picnic and at the same time selling their stuff, so it was not actually like, it was a good reason to just meet friends. Yeah, so everything went well, and after the first cleaning day, then the city contacted us and said like, yeah, you were right, it was really good, and now we have to give you a permission to do this, because if we don't give you a permission, everyone will hate the city officials. So it has been official after that we can do it. And we also got some private sponsors that have funded it, so for example, recycling companies or mobile pay systems who kind of also are kind of benefiting from this. So after this we started to think like, other things we could do. We founded actually an association and started to think we could actually celebrate the birthday of Helsinki, which is 12th of June. And we thought, like, how can we actually do it? Like, okay, let's make a big dinner, like in the same way, because this is how usually people celebrate birthdays. They go together and eat. And so we proposed this to the city. And some of the people liked the idea, some of the people hated the idea, and they said like you can't do this, that it's really not possible, and like why can't we just go to a park and do it there, because we wanted to close one of the main streets of Helsinki and put the table there. And then I asked like why we can't do it, and for example one person said that there's a road where the ambulances have to go through, so we can't put the table there. And then I said like, okay, what about if we make a hole in the table, 3-meter hole, if it's fine then? And then it was fine, and like suddenly when we went through all these problems, there were no problems anymore. And so we were able to do it. And we thought like, we get this message through that we want to make a nice dinner because we didn't have any pictures. Now we have this nice pictures, but at that point we didn't have. So we used this painting of Renoir to kind of create this idea, and people kind of got it quite well because it looked pretty much the same. And it was really funny to see how people were like really putting effort to do it. So this is how the street looks normally on the left, and this is how it was during the event. So it was quite a big difference. And it was actually a really rainy day when we were organizing it for the first time. So we were a bit worried if people would come. But they came. It was a table for 1,000 people, and almost all the seats were taken. But then it started to rain again, and we thought first that it's over. But like actually, people just opened their umbrellas and continued eating. and this also shows like when the people are like themselves making the event, they are like part of this project. They are not just like visitors, but they are actually like part of this. So they are like really staying there, and it was still like really fun, although it was raining. And when the rain stopped, like people were throwing their umbrellas, like the war has ended or something like that. Yeah, then people started to complain, like why only 1,000 people? Why it can't be bigger? And we were like, okay, come on, it's 1,000 people. It's like 300 meters table. We can't make it much bigger. But then we made another event when people can just like go wherever they want. And we made again a map page for that. We negotiated with the city about the permissions, and you could even order the tables and chairs through us. By the way, for this we also had like private sponsors. For example, a water company making waters sponsored the event, and they also gave us water, and also the tablecloth were sponsored, and this company also provided some money for the production. Yeah, so there were like again like a lot of nice events. This is maybe my favorite. There was like they were eating crabs, and it's actually a really busy street. It doesn't look like that now, but like there are like cars going all the time, and they were having their party there. This is actually like where they like for burying people, and they were like having a party in front of it. Yeah, then I have met a lot of stuff also with private spaces. The first of them was living room exhibition. A friend of mine is a photographer, and she wanted to have an art exhibition, but didn't have money to organize it. So we thought, like, what kind of spaces do we have? And then we thought, okay, homes, of course. So let's use our homes and invite other artists too. So in the end, we had 15 apartments and about 40 artists, and like this 2-day event where people could go to homes to see art. And there were like all kind of art, paintings of course, but also music, dance, installations, sound art, and all kind of stuff. And not only living rooms, but also like cellars, toilets, saunas, of course, in Finland, saunas, kitchens. This is actually my fridge. There was also one art piece in the fridge, and it was funny because we have 2 fridges, so people also opened the other fridge with all my food, and they were like, "Wow, this is so cool art." So it's kind of funny, like how your perception changes. Like you start to see everything as art. People came in and look, where is the art? It's not anymore like just on the wall. Yeah, this also was made there. It's actually like, this is actually the whole apartment, so it was like just actually one artist, the whole apartment. Some media art also, here people could also write their stories and so on. Yeah, then, yeah, like I said, like in Finland we have a lot of saunas. Actually there are about 3 million saunas in Finland, and there are 5 million people. So it's quite crazy. So it means that there are a lot of saunas that no one is using, and at the same time there are a lot of people who want to go to saunas. So I organized Helsinki Sauna Day, a day of open saunas in 2016 for the first time. It was in the first picture too. And the idea is that, yeah, people and organizations, hotels and so on open the saunas, and everyone can visit them for free. Again, we made a map for that. So you can actually see like which saunas, the orange ones are already fully booked. The yellow ones are like you need a reservation, but there's still space. And the green ones are so that you can just go there without reservation. So again, it was made like really easy to take part. And yeah, so there were all kind of saunas. Like this one was like someone's home. He invited people to go to sauna. This one was a hotel. Like all the hotels in Finland have sauna, of course. And during the daytime, they are actually not used. So there are like a lot of hotels taking part. But also like tent saunas. This was like quite a surprise for me that someone set up this tent to go to sauna. And as you can see, there's still snow, so this is actually organized in March. Because the summer in Finland is really short and it's like full of events, but like then what about the rest of the time? There's not that much happening, so this is why it was organized in March when there's still actually snow. But like after the sauna, it's actually quite nice to go outside when it's quite cold, so it actually fits quite well together. Yeah, then there was like, yeah, also of course swimming possibilities, like, to have a refreshing swim in between. And yeah, it was actually really funny. Like a lot of people like went a lot of saunas. I know some people who went to more than 20 saunas in one day. So they were actually like, they started at 7 in the morning and ended like at 12 in the midnight. So it was really crazy. But it's funny. Like they are like all kind of people, and they're like suddenly they are all friends. Like when you do something like this, like everyone are so open. And I was talking to one foreigner, like how did you come here and why did you come to sauna? And he said like it's so hard to talk to Finns. If you talk to them on the street, they like don't say you anything. But if you get naked and go to sit next to them in the sauna, you can talk about everything. Also, Sompa Sauna was taking part. Sompa Sauna it's really interesting example of this kind of do-it-yourself culture that has emerged in Helsinki in 2010. After 2010, it was actually it's totally do-it-yourself. It was made by some guys who found a stove and thought, okay, let's build a sauna. And they didn't have any permission to do it. So when they built it for the first time in 2011, the city destroyed the sauna. Next year they built it again, and again the city destroyed it. Next year they did it again, and again it was destroyed. And then there's like a lot of discussion, like come on, like it doesn't make sense. These guys build saunas and these guys destroy saunas. Like why they all can't go to the sauna? So at that point, actually, the city rented the land for the organization. They founded an association. And so they made an agreement. So it's a totally free sauna. It's all warm every day, and you can go there for free. There are no locks or anything. You can just like always go there. And in 2015, they got from the city the Culture Deed of the Year award. So they changed their opinion quite quickly. But there was also like portable saunas, so that you can like bring by car. Like some people were traveling hundreds of kilometers to bring their saunas to Helsinki. And there were also not saunas taking part in Helsinki. Actually, for example, in Germany, like one sauna has taken part many times, which is quite weird because it's not like really Helsinki. And then also the National Museum, this is the National Museum in Helsinki, they also wanted to take part, and they contacted me and said like, what could we do? Like maybe we could organize a lecture. And I was like, come on, like who wants to hear a lecture if you have a day when you go to sauna? But you have like this huge yard, and we have all these portable saunas who need water. And so maybe you can like open your yard and take all the saunas there. So we had like a sauna village on the backyard of the National Museum, and it was really funny. Like when the tourists came to the museum, like, and they're like, okay, here's the Middle Ages, and here are the sauna section. Towels are here. But this is I think it's a good example, like how also like big organizations and like really traditional organizations can actually be part of this kind of civic society and make something together. Yeah, there was a lot of media, of course, and also like a swimming possibility. Yeah, but like that was not all. Like I thought, okay, normal saunas, yeah, they're fine. But then like some game designers, they made like a virtual sauna. So you put on these glasses and you think that you're in a sauna. It's a good example. Like you think you have something simple sauna. This is how it is. You have a warm room and you go in, but then some guys make something like this. It's really crazy. Yeah, I also work a lot with urban art. We founded an association for that with some other friends interested in street art in 2017. Before that, we actually already started to do some stuff. This is our first big mural from the 2016. It has been actually really hard to make street art and murals in Helsinki because we had zero tolerance with street art and graffiti. So the attitude was really negative towards that. But then we started a project called like More Street Art in Helsinki. This is actually not a real mural. We just like photoshopped a lot of murals on the walls of Helsinki to show like what it could be, and through that we kind of wanted to change also the opinion of the people, because it's much easier to get the point when you show it like in a photo. So like finally in 2016 we made our first murals, also this one. Here also people could take part in painting it. But we don't paint only walls. This is a square with a bit bad reputation. In Helsinki it's actually called the amphetamine square. So everyone calls it by that name. So we proposed the city that maybe we could paint it to make it a bit kind of nicer. We made a competition where people could propose ideas about it, and then we painted this one together with the people. So all the people could take part in the painting, and we had about 200 volunteers painting. And it was funny, like these people were actually going to a bar, and then they stopped, like, okay, we can also stop paint a bit. But we made it so easy, like you didn't have to register or anything. You could come only for 5 minutes if you wanted, or you could spend many days. Yeah, we have. This is from Pasila, a district of Pasila in Helsinki. It's built in the 70s, so there's a lot of concrete, and it's actually built in 2 levels. So you can see that the cars are supposed to be there on the lower level, and the pedestrians here on the higher level, which means that there are like a lot of this kind of ramps and bridges and staircases, and it doesn't work that well. So a lot of people wanted to have some art there and some colors. So we started a project called Pasila Street Art District. I sent a press release everywhere that this area is now turning to a street art district, and the media started to write about it. At that point I didn't have any funding or any permission to do it, but it became much easier when you once said it. So this one, for example, we painted here with the help of Hungarian Culture Institute. We actually cooperated with a lot of embassies and culture institutes, because it was the Finland's 100th year anniversary. So I said, like, okay, like you need to do something because it's the anniversary of Finland. I have a solution for you. Give me the money and I will bring your artist from your country. Okay, nice to know. Fix that. So there's a lot of art in different scales, like really small stuff, but also like really big stuff. Now there are actually also a lot of tourists coming there to this area where like no one came before to visit it. And not just like paintings, but also installations like this one by Nespoon and Polish artists. Paintings, so with the people who are living there, like this staircase that we painted just like a month ago. or this one where the residents also could take part in the painting. Yeah, so then back to some flea market stuff. Yeah, like I said, like this cleaning day was the first thing that I was organizing, and or bigger thing that I was organizing, and then I thought, okay, we organize it now twice a year, but it's not that much. Maybe we could have a weekly flea market every Sunday. Alexis Kivegalo, it means like it's a street name. I live on the street, and I thought like there's a like a empty park. Maybe we could use that, and then I made a Facebook page saying that every Sunday people go to this park and make it a flea market. It wasn't true, but when I made it, it became true. So now there are like every Sunday thousands of people going to this park, and officially it doesn't exist, but everyone knows that of course there's a Sunday flea market. So and it was funny, I actually wrote to the city like maybe we could try this kind of stuff, and if it doesn't work, we just cancel it. And they never replied to me, so I just did it. And in the winter, after the first summer, it was like 2014, I guess, I wrote them like, I wrote you last summer and proposed this idea, you never replied to me, so I just did it. Could we now make it official? And then they sent me a message that, unfortunately, this kind of action is not allowed in Helsinki. It's possible only during one day called Cleaning Day. You can read more about it on their webpage. But then I just continued with that, and so there's actually no one is organizing it. There's like people just come there and then they go in the evening, and then also people start to come to sell food and coffee and ice cream and so on. So it kind of became actually a like really big market. And now there are also even like tourists from Russia coming by bus to do the shopping there. Yeah, I've been also organizing a Kallio block party. It's a huge festival that happens in Helsinki every August since 2011. I'm not anymore part of it, but I used to do it for 4 years or so. And the idea is that all the volunteers like make this event for one day, and like it's always organized on the streets. So this is actually one of the busiest streets of Helsinki, but now it's closed. So this is how it looked like during this event. And it's every time organized in a different place. So it's not on the same street, but like every time the organization team looks at another place. And this is also how it kept like interesting for the people who make it. Like if you make it just like, if you just repeat the same thing on and on, it kind of becomes boring. But like if you can like create it from the zero every time, it's interesting. And for example, here we use the roof of this grocery store as a stage. So it's kind of idea is also to use the urban space in a creative way. This is the map from 2012. So there are like stages, roller disco, street dance, graffiti, and so on. Just to give you an idea. This is how the street looked like that during that day. So there are tens of thousands of people taking part. We have also cooperated with the church. This is Kallio is like the name of this district, and it's quite liberal district. So also the church has taken part in this organization of this festival, and they have had also concert in the church, and they had to close the doors because there were too many people coming in. They said like this is the first time we have to do this. But they have also sponsored some toilets with the stickers. The church helps in need. So something really concrete. Yeah, this is the same street that you could see in the first picture. Yeah, and there's mostly music, but also street art. Like one year we had like swings hanging out here and there, street circus. This one was one of my favorites. Like in 2013, I was wondering like why there's a like big queue in front of one house, because there was not supposed to be anything. And then there was like one guy, this sign says, put something, get something. And so he was like putting down a basket, and people put some stuff there, and then he changed the stuff to something else. And then there was like huge queue there. No one actually knew who this guy is, but he just came to do it. Yeah, this is a bit more recent project. Konepaja movement. Konepaja means like a train factory. I live really nearby this place. And it used to be a place where they built trains before. It's like really nice architecture, as you can see. And it was empty for many years. or almost empty. There was like one like event space set up there, but that's it. And we thought like we should actually do something for this area, and we decided let's start a movement. And we had the first meeting, and in our meeting there were like 5 people. It didn't feel like really movement at that point. But then a week after that, it was announced that German hardware store called Bauhaus, so they are selling like tools and wood and so on. They want to turn it into a huge hardware store. So suddenly all people were interested like saving this area, and we really became a movement. So like there was like a lot of people complaining about this, and actually all the politicians started to turn against this Bauhaus plan. But we didn't want to be just against something, but we wanted to be like in favor of this area. We wanted to kind of good future for this area. So with some architects from Virkala de Vocht office, we made a kind of plan based on nothing. What could be there? So there could be studios, loft offices, event space, bakeries, galleries, restaurants, and so on. And when you put like next to each other like this, just a minute, this plan and this plan. So this one starts to feel much better. Actually, this was not based on anything. We just like thought it would be nice to have this kind of stuff there. But the politicians then stopped this Bauhaus plan, and they said like now it's better for you to find someone to do this. So I contacted Bruce Orek, investor from USA. We just actually went sauna a few weeks before, and I sent him a message like, would you like to buy this place and like turn it into this kind of area? And he said yes. So he bought it for 10 million euros, and now he's renovating it for 30 million euros or something. So it's good to go to sauna. That's what we can learn. But now we wanted to make it like totally different. Like when Bauhaus made this plan, they just like came there and said like we will turn it to this area, and they didn't communicate at all. But we started by organizing like a meeting for the residents. So there were like about 300 people in the meeting to kind of explain about the plans for the area. So everyone was kind of like pro this idea. And now there's like, this is actually, maybe someone knows Aki Kaurismäki, Finnish director. He's opening now like movie theaters and bars and so on in this area. There's a like hotel coming up, and a lot of restaurants and so on. So pretty much actually what we wanted. I also do some stuff with food. One of them is called Restaurant Wasted Space. We go to wasted spaces and turn them into gourmet restaurants for one day. And we never tell the location beforehand. We don't tell the food. We don't tell about the art, because we always have some art. We have also done it in that space, what I just showed. We have done it in for example, this is an old furniture factory. It was so huge that we have to like make it dark, not to look too big. This is a greenhouse. We always have bands there. This is actually in an art museum, so it's not just about empty spaces that are kind of left empty, but actually spaces that are not used at that point. We have done it also in a tank station, like when they closed, and in this museum when they closed it with some dance performance. We use a lot of wild food, so food that is collected from the forest, like as you can see. That's about that. Cake exhibition. Okay, really quickly, because I also wanted to say about this, because I really like to use food as a way to connect people. Cake exhibition is actually a really small thing, but like some of my friends said, it's the best thing you have ever done. So the idea is people bake cakes and eat them together. So it's quite simple. So the cakes are shown there, and then you can just eat them with your friends, and it actually works pretty good. But it's a good example how just easily with food you can bring people together. Another food project, Jana Vegan Kiosk. We set up this kiosk a few years ago. There are like this kind of kiosks in Finland. They are built in the 40s and 50s, so they're kind of really nice looking, but most of them are empty nowadays. And the city was selling them, so a friend of mine proposed, let's try to buy one of them in auction and turn it into a vegan kiosk. We had 8 days time, and we decided let's give a try, and we gathered 40,000 euros in these 8 days, and bought this kiosk with all these people. We opened it like a few months after that, and the queue was like 2 hours, so you have to wait 2 hours to get this grill food, which is quite a lot. But we had about 7,000 Facebook fans even before we opened the kiosk. So again, like when people have the ownership of this project, they kind of really support it. A bit more recent project from last year. There's actually a mall that in Finland proposed me to some kind of cooperation. At first I thought, okay, mall, I don't want to do anything with the mall. But then I thought, okay, maybe I propose something really crazy to them. So I proposed that we turn this area that was close to the mall into the mall that was actually under construction still. So turn into this like a community space. So we brought some containers, painted them, we made a stage where people can organize their own concerts. And like we had a program every day pretty much there. And we took care of all the permissions, all the equipment and so on, so it was really easy to take part. We had a lot of yoga, different kind of sports, urban gardening, and a lot of concerts which were really popular. But again, like I thought, okay, we will have a lot of concerts, but this was like a quite big surprise for me that some people actually organized a wrestling event. So again, like it's a good example. You have something in your mind what people will do, and this is what they actually do. Crazy. Then the mall was built, and I met the people, and I said, like, do you have any empty space there? And they said, like, yeah, we have actually one empty space, and it's hard to rent to anyone. And I said, like, let's go to see it. And I saw it, and like, whoa, let's continue the same project in this place. And they agreed about that. So we turned that into a kind of community space also. There's like a place to hang out. We painted the walls so that it doesn't look like that much mall. You can come to just like spend some time. A lot of people come to work there. It's like really popular place to work because you don't have to buy anything. We have also 2 walls for art exhibitions. So everyone can kind of organize for free art exhibitions. Cake exhibition we also did there. There's like a bookshelf for changing books. Close, like a lot of, basically the idea is that everyone can organize their events for free as long as they're open for everyone. And on Saturdays, when the mall is closed, we turn it actually like a live stage. So we have like concerts and music every Saturday evening, which is really weird in a mall. And then we have a lot of yoga also there. And we built also an area for children, which became so popular that we actually then had to build another space for children to hang out, so it couldn't be in the same space anymore. Okay, then again, like some food stuff, really small thing, but kind of funny. This is actually where I live. My balcony is there, and I thought so Conferencia is again like this trade factory. The area is called Trade Factory. And I was thinking it would be nice to have like a pop-up cafe, but like how to do it? Like, okay, there's like no space downstairs, like I can't like sell from the 3rd floor, and what about if I bake something and no one buys it? Do I have to throw it away? Then I thought, okay, I will make ice cream cafe. So I bought an ice cream machine, I started to make ice cream, and then we started to sell it from a basket. So here's a sign that says, pull the string. You can see the string there. And when you pull the string, it rings a bell inside the apartment. And then the ice cream is coming down there, and then you put the money there. So this is how it looks like from the closer look. So it's actually really easy. You can just like hang out there on the balcony and read a book, and when people come and ring the bell, you can sell them ice cream. And of course, you can eat a lot of ice cream yourself. And you never have to throw anything away because ice cream doesn't get bad. Yeah, and the children doing the selling work, it's even more practical because of course all the children want to play like a shop, so this is actually even better. Okay, then shortly, how to get people involved, to this kind of project or whatever you're actually doing. It can actually fit to everything. There's need for something new. So, like all these kind of things, like when I started to organize them, like that people will say, like finally something like this, like why no one has done this before? So actually, there was a big need for that, but like it was not said loud. Quite often people actually can't say what they need before you actually do it. And at the same time, it has to be familiar enough. So if you do Helsinki sauna day here, it won't work because it's just like too weird. And most of this stuff, but anyway, like all this stuff, like they were like something. There was something familiar. People were used to go to sauna, so why not Helsinki sauna day? And like people used to do this cleaning day, so why not the same thing every Sunday in this park? The concept is easy and understandable, so the name should be clear. All these have like really easy names. You can kind of right away understand what it's all about. And it should be, I have this kind of principle, like if you can describe an idea in 3 sentences, it's a bad idea, because like nowadays people don't want to read, they just like are too busy to do that. The vision is shared, so like if you have like some kind of original idea, don't get too stuck to that, but like if people want to do kind of change it, you should be ready for that. Like for example with this sauna, like the virtual sauna, I never thought like someone would do something like that, like why not? Or the wrestling event. So kind of create the vision together. The structure has to be clear. People want some guidelines. So create clear frames and structures and tools. Like all these kind of they're like really clear. Like if you think about the cleaning day, Helsinki sauna day, all this does, it's like really easy. Okay, on this day you should just like add your place on the map, and then you can go there and sell your stuff or buy your stuff or go to sauna and so on. But be ready to change them if needed. For example, with Helsinki sauna day, like first we put the first opening time at 9 in the morning, and I thought like no one will put their own on their sauna before 9. And like right away someone calls like, we want to put our sauna on at 7:30, but we can't do it because your page doesn't give us the chance to do it, and then it changed it. So change it if it's needed. So at the same time, when people need this kind of frames, they also want some room for creativity. So because they want to do something themselves. For example, if you think about this cake exhibition, like it's like full of these kind of small art pieces of cakes, but at the same time they're like really clear. There's really clear structure. Or like this cleaning day, like people are making their own nice stands and so on. And don't make any unnecessary limits. Actually, when we were doing this cleaning day, some of our team wanted that it would start at 10. And I said, like, why we should start at 10 if people want to start earlier? And then actually some people started at 2 a.m. So they went straight from the bar on the previous day to the park to sell their stuff. They were quite tired next day when I met them. Participating is easy. So it doesn't require a commitment for a long time necessary. There can be like different kind of roles, but there should be always this kind of easy role that you don't have to be involved for 1 year or something, or month or something. And participant can decide how to take part. This is also important, that it's not like just like one role, but they can actually decide like what is the best way for them. And no need for big planning. If you think about all these projects that I showed you, like none of them needs actually much planning. You can on the previous day kind of decide like if you want to take part in it or not. Participating is rewarding, quite clear, but it's good to keep in mind that there are like quite different kind of rewards, and like people have different reasons to take part. So some people want to do some good, some want to meet their friends, like you saw in the pictures. Some want to make some friends, they want to meet new people. They want to make something meaningful, be part of something bigger. This is also often what people say, that if there's like such a big thing happening, they want to be part of it. Some might want some experience, And of course money, like if you sell, for example, clothes, it's a good motivation. It's important to be open also, so without knowledge, people don't feel like being part of something, so kind of, it's always good to communicate as much as possible, because then the people have the ownership, they feel that this is my thing also, it's not just, I'm not just like doing something for someone else, but it's actually our thing, I think. And don't create wrong expectation, it's a mistake that is often made when participating people, so they kind of think that they can like influence in something, but they can't. And make it possible always to join. This is also like something that we often forget, that we start something and think that it's easy to join, but actually it's not, because it kind of becomes an insider thing. Be present, also kind of clear, but like it's like when people are participating, it's really important that you are there to help and react. And like when people have the feeling that they want to take part, and then if they don't get any reaction, they kind of easily lose their interest. And make it attractive, kind of logical, but especially like when you're creating something new, it's like really important to make it so attractive that people like think that, oh, I really want to be part of that, and I don't want to miss it. And also like that it's kind of special enough. Like when we were making this dinner under the Helsinki sky, when we closed the street, and the city officials said like, why can't you make it in the park? And I said like, why should we make it in a park? Like it's not attractive at all. People can go to this park every day, but they only on this one day they can go to the street and have fun there together. And also like quite simple, but like always good to keep in mind, make the rewards as big as possible, their efforts as small as possible. This is also like with this balcony cafe. Like first I thought if I set up a cafe on the street, it's like really a lot of effort. Then I bake something and then I throw it away. So small rewards, big efforts. But like with this ice cream and the basket, it works totally well. And this one is kind of showing that like often I hear people saying that people don't want to participate. But actually we don't think, are we actually doing the right thing that people want to do, and are we doing it in the right way? So it's always good to kind of think what should we do and how should we do and what people want, and not just like say we want you to join our thing, come and do what we want. And also good principle, done is better than perfect. Like all these projects, I just like started to do them without knowing exactly what will happen, and then like something again, like something totally different came up, like with wrestling and virtual saunas and everything. So just like don't try to plan it all, because you can't. There will be surprises. So it's just better to start to do, and people will join, and then you will see what will come up. And sometimes it's good to remember that it's easier to ask forgiveness than to ask for permission. So actually, if we would have asked permission for the first cleaning day, we wouldn't have got it, and none of this would have happened. So yeah, it's good to. Sometimes you have to break rules to kind of show that you can do things in a different way. And also related to that and everything, Russians have a good saying: "Those who don't take risks don't drink champagne." So if you just like want to do easy things, you won't drink champagne. Okay, thank you very much.